everyone, and welcome to A Lot of Bit of It All. My name is Angelica. If you're new here, I started cash stuffing again this past year and have kind of just documented my journey off and on throughout then. If you are returning, thanks for coming back. Today is kind of a wild one, guys. Those of you who are new, please know my life is messy sometimes. I'm like super unorganized. My ADHD gets the best of me. And so I'm kind of all over the place, and that's exactly what this video is going to be. So prepare yourselves. I kind of just loaded everything up in front of me here. I wanted today to talk about what I plan on using this year for my budgeting notebook and system. Like I said, I've done this once before, but it was very, very basic a few years ago, and then again this past year in the spring of 2025 I started again, and I started to break things down in a little bit more detail to really focus on some savings to put away and to get rid of some debt. So I just wrapped up my 2025 savings challenge video. If you guys saw that money is already accounted for. Some of it is going into savings, yes, but a lot of it, I'm not going to do it the same next year, but a lot of it I'm going to take and pay off like my mattress and things like that, more personal things, like life things. But I wanted today to talk a little bit more about the budgeting thing so that I can try and figure out what I'm doing as well. Just to give you guys a little bit of information on how my brain works, I wanted to show you all that I have in front of me here and just kind of the systems I've gone through along the way, not necessarily with budgeting, but with planning, that has kind of led me to where I'm at right now with, where I'm currently at right now with my planning system as well as my budgeting system. So I started way back in the day with one of these. I just pulled it off the shelf and I realized that like there's like dust in all of these discs because I haven't pulled it off in such a long time. It was from, what was this from? The like ARC back in the day, and hence the big old disc bound hole puncher as well. I have to the lock is broken, it doesn't lock anymore, but yeah, I use this all the time and have used it on and off for a few years. But so this is one of the original planners, and then every year for work I usually get one of these guys, and I didn't start keeping them until this year because that's when I don't know, that's when I started keeping them. I started being a little bit more organized at work as well after 15 years of doing what I do. But anyways, I always had a planning system, but I tried to do it digital. Like digital just doesn't work for me. And so every year I can't flip through these because student names are in them, but you can kind of see, like, you know, this was just the typical agenda that they, you know, for the most, let me see if I can find a blank page. They have like, you know, the hourly breakdown. And so what I would do is, I don't think I can find one, but I would draw bold lines for when the class periods ended and kind of chunk students and schedule them in that way. Or I would document any crises or anything that occurred during the day, meetings and whatnot, just so I know, because my memory is shot and like this helps me refer back to things. Same thing for the following year. This one was a little bit more, let me see, more of a detailed breakdown in terms of hourly. It was in quarter hour increments. So I was able to tailor this. Like I said, I would just draw my bold lines across the entire week for the class periods and do it this way. But everything has to be, I don't have any names in this one. So everything has to be, and clearly May of 2024, I had given up by then, but this calendar is not full at all. But I would put all the important dates in there. I would put my IEP meetings, 504 meetings, everything that I'm involved in at school in this, and it would be only work related. And then, let me get these out of the way. The last few years, I've done a number of systems, and so I've combined personal and work. And the last couple of years I've had hemlock and oak binders, but you can see like this one by April, like I was done using, and I want to say this was last year. This was 2025. And what I was finding was that this vertical layout, in terms of this size, I love this size, but for work it's too small because of the hourly breakdowns. It's just too small of a space. So I was still trying to figure out what was going to work for me. So in the middle of this past year, the year before I also used a hemlock and oak, but this one is more used. I used that a lot. But I want to say, I can't remember what year I started my new job, and I want to say it was, sorry guys, I should have planned to open up which pages were going to be used with, so I could show you guys with no student names, but I have, okay, I don't have any student names in here. So you can see here, just, I have, you know, just random things. This was more, like I said, the one that would go back and forth to work, but I wouldn't necessarily, well, I can't show you like the highlights and the stickers and things like that in the inside because that is confidential with the names and whatnot. But anyways, so that was the last couple years as well. So then from there, I got a couple ring binders and started using rings because I was finding that I could change things out instead of being stuck in a bound book or planner. I was able to switch things out as I needed to. I could, again, client names, but I could, you know, do monthlies and dashboards and things like that. And then I would always, let me see if I can find a blank one, but I would always look online because I was I diagnosed? I don't even know if I don't remember when I got my ADHD diagnosis, but when I got my ADHD diagnosis, I was like, oh my gosh, like that makes so much more sense. And so I always pieced things together, and the rings was really helpful for that because I would just go on the websites, order a couple PDFs, and print them out, whether it was grids, lines, task lists, to-do lists, things like that. And so I used this for a while for the rings. And then I went into disc bound. So this was actually this is budget. So okay, so then I have my Paper Republic folio, which I usually just use for like organization and note keeping and whatnot. So this, I love this, and I have is it passport size or pocket size one too that I use. I've been using that actually because it's got a little zip envelope that I put in there. I've been using that as my wallet lately actually, and have not been using the large cash envelopes, but I digress. So this was notes, and then here's another one, a little traveler size, but this one is this clear cover is from Cloth and Paper, and then I just put a piece of vellum on the inside, and then I just write, you know, task lists. I have a sticker book in here, random receipts, some other stickers that I have, and so this is kind of like it switches in between this one, my little pocket one. And then I decided I need to get my life organized, and this year I am moving back to, well, last year I tried the Aura Estelle one, and I made it to April again. And so all of this back stuff is filled in, but then I didn't use the rest of the vertical. However, I don't know if I have any names in here, I blacked them out. I started using it again in the fall, which was nice, but again, I found myself going back to the back of it to use the notes section. And so a lot of this isn't used, probably about 3/4 of it isn't used. So I think I'm going to hang on to this and just redate it if I ended up wanting to switch back to a weekly vertical layout. But let me see if I can actually find, sorry guys, this video is about budgeting, but I'm letting you know everything that I used to do about scheduling, which is not, you know, how this was going to go, but I can't find a Okay, I'm going to cover this up, and I'm going to cover up some names, actually. Okay, so what I would do is I would use some stamps and just do an hourly layout depending on how I wanted things to look. Here's another example of let me get a bigger piece of paper to cover this up. How I would set things up. I whited this one out because I messed up, but I would just use my stamps to decorate every week and date everything, even though it was already dated, but I just like to play with a lot of those things. And then let me see if I can find a larger section. Okay, so then it came with blank pages, and I would grid them out sometimes. Let me see if I could, you can see here, I would use stamps and kind of label it that way. And then I would, for the free weeks when I had time, I would go in with my stamps again and kind of just play around. So that was that, but I wasn't using it enough because, like I said, I was running out of space to use for work, to write student names and meetings and little recaps and whatnot. So then this year I decided to, where is it? Move to disc bound. This is the first year I've used the HP, the Happy Planner size, the HP Classic size, and I've been loving this for work size this year. I did printouts of a weekly of the big size, and it was just too big because it was too much free space for me to want to fill up at work. I like my stuff to look completed, and so but what I do here, okay, so I have, this one I didn't decorate, but I have a personal section which has like a more personal agenda weekly layout, and then after that I have more of a, of course I don't have it. So it is a vertical weekly, let me cover up a page, maybe some names around, but like, for example, this. I like to decorate them with stickers and, you know, use different colors and things like that, but this one, obviously I didn't fill too much out. I worked today, have some things to do, and then tomorrow I work again, but you can see here the hourly breakdown. I can split them up into half-hour blocks of time, so that is helpful to split the class periods. And so this is what I use for work, and it's a nice size 7 by 9¼ for me to use for work. However, this is a big binder for me to carry around everywhere, and it's pretty heavy. It's a chunker, and I just keep adding to it, and every month I take the inserts out and put new ones in, and I would like to have a longer length, like a backlog of time to be able to keep in this. And if I did that, I would need like 2-inch discs. I think this is 1.5 already. And so anyways, I love this. I'm going to continue to use this for work, but I think I'm separating out the personal, right? But because I started this, I believe I started that after I used a half-page agenda. Sorry, I've spilled all over this, so it's a little jinky, but I was using half-letter size disc bound for a while as well over this, or toward the end of this, I don't even remember, guys, but again, I was still trying to figure everything out. This was after the rings. I was like, well, maybe I'll try the discs since I have everything anyway. I'll just make some inserts and print some out from online. And so I did that as well. That is what got me onto my, where is it? Oh, it's in here. This is just another folio I used from Filofax. And this is when I started doing my budgeting and cash planning and things like that in the disc bound. And so I had cash breakdown sheets, I had monthly calendars, which I was not using this one by December 2025, so that one's blank. I would be able to show, like, for example, when I paid off my Apple Pay for my phone. And so I kept track of things in here. Let me see what else I have that I can show. Debt breakdown, income, and then I started turning it into, like, okay, so I kept track of my online orders, reading list. Clearly I had this in my rings, and then I just punched it for disc bound, but I didn't write that on. But like I said, I would just print things out and add, and I was using the half letter for a while. So then I decided to switch to, you guys, this video is so long. So I got this, this budget planner from the Budget Babe, and I loved the layout because it helped me break everything down. But after a while, like, I get so picky with how things look and how it's laid out, and if I mess up, I want to be able to reprint and reorganize, and I didn't want to waste all these papers, and I felt like I was just, my type A personality got the best of me. So I started to edit my own, and then I created my own full page budget. And then that was, actually no, I think this was first before the half letter. Maybe this goes all the way back to May. Oh yeah, look, I have, so I think this was my first cash stuffing, actually, April 4th. So I did start in the spring, late spring. I thought it was March, but maybe it was April. And obviously I do not have this many envelopes anymore. I have like triple this amount because that's just how my brain works. And I would keep track of everything in the big one. Then I went to the half letter. And then this is just like cardstock laminated that I used for this. And then I went to, where is my other one? Oh, sorry guys, I hit the camera. But this is the other one I transferred to. Like, I just did a clear cover from Levenger. Laminated my own little cardstock here. And this was the version of, so you can see here, like, what it would be monthly, would it be every 2 weeks, and then you can see my subscriptions there, and then when I was paying off some of these, like what I would budget myself to spend on some of these things. So I just want to get this Sleep Number paid off, and then I'll be good to go here for the most part. And then I just transferred what the Budget Babe was doing into my own Google Doc, but as you can see, like, I just wasn't using it. And so then I just started using, I would like decorate for like YouTube, Instagram, and Etsy, and I would, you know, do those spreads. I would do those, and then I would do my cash planning in this one. However, this is also really large to carry around to me. Like, I'll take this to work, and when I have downtime or when I'm eating lunch or something, I'll go through this real quick, or when I need to head to the bank right after school, I'll take this to confirm so that I could double check everything. Anyways, I told myself I wanted to try the, because I've done all these and tried all the Happy Disc planner, or I'm sorry, the HP Classic. I decided that's the size I wanted to try to use outside of the full size and the half letter. A5, I love A5, but I wanted to try just a little bit bigger for the budgeting. So that is what I'm going to be doing. So I brought some discs and some covers, and I kind of wanted to show you guys some of the new sheets that I just updated that I made for my previous book, but just updated them a little bit in terms of the look of it all. And so I have an expense tracker here with, I could just circle the month and then just write the date, what I bought, which envelope it came from, how much I spent, and if I, little checkbox if I unstuffed it or not. So that's some expense sheets. I have my cash planning sheets, which I decided, actually, I made an updated one even newer than this. I don't know if I have it in here, but so same thing as what the other ones look like. I have the pay period up here. In the newer ones, I have like a shaded box under here that you could write the date. It's very similar to the line that I had in my previous ones, but just to be able to keep track of everything that way in this size. And then I decided to, I used to have it this way, vertical, but I decided to turn it into landscape for the monthly savings tracker, because I think this year I'm going to be breaking down my savings challenges into monthly roundups instead of yearly, because although I was excited with that large amount of cash that I had at the end of the year, I was disappointed that I didn't have it in an account. And I think if I were to allocate monthly savings month by month, I would be able to actually, first of all, know what I'm saving, because I didn't really track any of that like I was supposed to until year's end. And so I want to be able to see that, but also I would be able to use that money and put toward things along the way rather than it just sitting here locked up at home. And so I think I'm going to do things differently. So I try to break those down by month as well. And then I edited that larger sheet that I modeled off of the Budget Babe, and added a few more categories in areas that worked for me, and then like unplanned spending and things like that. I just want to be able to track, so I'm really going to try, and because I have a couple side hustles, and I would just budget my main check and my side hustle with my side hustle, and I would use that to pay all the business stuff. But I think I might track both a lot more closely this year. I obviously won't be able to show everything, but I'm really going to try. And then these were just some random ones that I was, sorry, I have a dog hair, that I was going to try as well, just to keep track. I downloaded some things from Perfective Paper and a couple of other small shops to try social media calendars, any income I make. This was another version of the Infinite Lotus savings overview we just got in our monthly subscriptions. So this would be cool too, that I could track. Like, for example, I know that I have money in my travel account in my high yield savings. So I would, you know, maybe put the buckets or the folders I have for the savings in here and track that way. And then that's just a monthly tracker, but maybe like, I don't know, no spend days or something. But anyway, yeah, so I punched that. No, I didn't. Did I print this or did it come? Oh, you know what it is? I think this is like the left, you open it up and the 11th and 12th month is on the right side, but I just don't have the other sheet here on the left side. So anyways, yeah, so that's what I'm going to do this time around for budget tracking. And then I'm going to use the cloth and paper discs for now. For now, I think I'm going to have these, and I had a pile of other cover options because I didn't really want to use this gold. Hold on, guys. What did I do with that huge pile of options for covers? I'll be right back. Okay, found them. So because I have so much junk, I have all my covers. And so I have a couple of acrylic ones from Cloth and Paper, but this just brings the bulk back. And I'm going to try and stay away from these, even though they're really, really pretty. I have a couple of them. I have the striped and the studded that they just came out with. I had this one on one of my old half letter planner, but I got the HP Classic size a while back when they came out with that. So that I like the cover. I don't know, option. This is one that I can decorate myself from Happy Planner. I would just have to do my own inserts. Let's see, like a rose gold, one from Jane's Agenda. I don't mind the stone color. But you know what I think I might do to just keep things simple right now and thin? I might just go with this Jane's Agenda one because it's clear and it's thin. So let me, sorry for the plastic, get this out. And it is, front and back have the insert inside for the kind of transparent, oh, the Amazon truck is here. Transparent-ish frosty cover. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, and this probably has some plastic on there that I need to take off, but I'm not gonna do that on camera because that would be a pain for me to find. So I'm just gonna put these discs on to give me some structure before I put everything in there, and I think afterwards I'll go in and I'll make I'm short a disc, guys. I am sure there's one here somewhere. I'm short 2 discs. I'm sure there's another one here somewhere that I did 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, I know I pulled out 9. So one is missing, but it will be found. And then, so here is what I'm going to be doing. I think what I'm going to do first, though, is for every month, obviously, I only printed a couple each, but I'll go in if these work and print more. I was going to start this up here. I was like, oh my gosh, I punched it wrong, but I'm missing a disc. So that is going to go in first. A budget recap. And then I have to print out also. What I usually do is I go through all of my cash envelopes and I'll count up how much money I actually have in there. And then I'll write out what I want to contribute to that envelope, to that fund, and then I'll transfer it to here. Like I said, I'm a paper pen girl, so I really don't mind rewriting things or relisting or anything like that. I just, the digital thing I lose track of a lot of times. Obviously I lose track of paper a lot too. That has been pretty obvious. But yeah, so expenses, and then I'll be able to keep track of savings trackers back, or savings challenges and savings amounts back here. And this seems really, really thin, guys. Look at how that looks sad. But it turns out to get crazy like this guy, right? And I know that this cover added some bulk, but it, you know, these things, once you add more copies and blanks and fill all the pages, it chunks up a little bit, which is what I like. But something simple like this is what I needed to get started this year. I'm excited to start fresh. So every year I choose a word of the year, and every year I fall short. I feel like I don't really make any New Year's resolutions because I just disappoint myself at the end. And I just saw this planner over here. I got distracted because I also tried this one for A5 rings, but because I was opening and closing the rings over and over again, I decided to go back to discs, and that's why I wanted to try the Happy Planner size, HP Classic size, instead of the half letter. Anyways, what was I saying? I forgot. I don't know what I was saying, guys, but, oh, I choose a word of the year every year, and every year I fall short, and so I don't make any resolutions because I don't like to break promises. And then, what I am choosing this year, because I really need to, I always say I need to fix my life, or like my life be a wreck. I'm always like dramatic about it, but I need to get it together, and I need to figure out this organization system that I've never had my entire life, even though people think I'm organized, and I tell them it's a facade, that it's just a show because they think I am, but inside I'm like a mess. And I think that's the anxiety too. Okay, my recording stopped automatically and I forgot. I don't know where it left off, but sorry, I was rudely interrupted. Well, I wasn't rude. She was not rude. I interrupted myself by accidentally clicking a video on my computer. It was I'm So Budget. She was she was about to get started with her organization. But anyways, I have switched planners like 3 times already this year, so I was going to use A5 Sterling ink, and then I decided I would use this for social media, but I already changed the layout from week 1 to week 2. From this week into next week, I already changed it. And then I switched this one into like more of a personal one, but I'm finding like, is this going to be enough space? I don't know. I've never used this size before. I had a B6 Slim before, but I ended up giving it away close to the start of the year after I started it, just because I didn't use it. I had another B6 too that I was journaling in the back, but I have no idea where that one went. This stuff all moved when I moved my stuff up from downstairs in my craft room. But anyways, guys, so you can see I try and stay, or this is probably why people think I'm organized, because I always have planners with me, and they look cute. I should tell them it's all fake. It's all not real. Anyways, yeah, so this is what I plan on using this year. Let me know what you think. Sorry, it's a little skinny. I didn't want to print a lot of them because I didn't want to waste the paper and ink printing everything that I may or may not use or be consistent with if I switch to a different size and or want to switch up the layouts and stuff. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys are using this year. I've been watching a lot of setups online, which has been fun also, and so I'm curious to see what everyone is doing. But if you have any recommendations for procedures or like, you know, methods that I've used in the last few months that you have some tips or tricks or suggestions on, please let me know. I am all ears because I need all the help I can get. Thank you guys for watching up until this point, because I have been, well, I mentioned at the beginning, I told you guys I'm all over the place, but yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope that you will hop on again soon, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.